And 5, 4, 3. Hey, welcome to Bothering the Band. Today's episode is a super fun one. We've got Kate Micucci, so please welcome your hosts, Ryan and Abby. Get ready to laugh, get ready to cry. You're going to have a great time. It's Bothering the Band.
Welcome to Bothering the Band. We're
Thank
going to leave
you.
all that in.
Oh, please. That would be the most embarrassing / boring.
I mean, that is a good reflection of our sensibilities. It's just very DIY. Our whole goal is to befriend our favorite musicians. So the audio doesn't matter, nor do
Yeah.
your hopes and dreams. So,
what does matter these days?
well, we're massive fans of yours, have been forever. When we really sat down to think about it, we're like, oh my God, we've been watching Kate's work forever, like 20 years. It feels like it's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
it's been about 20 years that I've been doing things, which is crazy. But thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. And I'll say that I'll repeat myself 10 times, but we've been rooting for you for 20 years.
Oh,
You know what I
thanks.
mean? This is a crazy story. Um, I saw you at a UCB thing in New York, and then like a week later, I saw you on Bored to Death.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, that person looks familiar. And then after that, it was just like, oh, you're everywhere. So good for you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I feel like especially around that time I was doing a lot of TV, like hopping around on different shows. So that's really funny. All right, by the way, are we recording now or did we start yet?
We recorded.
We
We
did.
recorded the
We
whole thing.
started. Okay, great, great. Well, yeah,
Do you have to
thank
go to the
you.
bathroom or
No,
something?
I'm great. I feel like I'm doing great here. But no, that I'm trying to think. It's rare. Was I with Ricky? Were we doing Garfunkel and Oates at UCB?
It was at like an after party thing
Oh,
there,
huh.
and I came with my friend Mike, who was taking classes there.
Okay.
And this is something we just told Adam Pally, who was
Was he
just
there
on.
too?
He wasn't there, but he was in the mix. Again, I've been like comedy adjacent forever. And it's just funny now, 20 years later, everyone's like just doing great stuff.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to witness from afar. That's all. There's no question. It was just an observation.
There's also it is a really like when I think back to those earlier UCB days, and especially when Ricky and I started performing there a bunch, like the people that we were performing with, and had shows at the same time. Like it's wild to think where almost all of them have gone. Like there are so many success stories, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that was at the New York UCB. You said,
Yeah.
yeah,
But you started
interesting.
in LA?
Yeah, I've never lived in New York. I moved to LA for college and then just stayed out there. And then yeah, when I started doing like I guess I started performing around 2000. I did a few things in like 2005 and then I kind of stopped for a second and then maybe 2 years later got back to it. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't know exactly what I was doing and what I wanted to do and how to do it. And then the more people I met and the more people that encouraged me, then it kind of like, and then once I met Ricky, then we started performing a ton, and then we went on that whole like crazy train of, making a show. It was just like, it all like looking back, it's a big blur, but it was also so much fun. So now I have a 3.5-year-old, which is why I was 5 minutes late because he was crying and he's going to go on a trampoline. That's where I feel like my life has been lately.
That's great. I identify
Yeah.
with that too. I have a 9
Yeah.
year old daughter that was spent the whole weekend on a trampoline.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
Yeah. But yes, back to just watching people grow and like, you know, that's what I was saying with like rooting for you. It's like, oh, she's funny and doing cool stuff. That's a cool project. And then you pop up somewhere else, and you're like, oh, I know that person. And then, you make a name and it's so great.
Thanks. I feel like my career has been one where, it's like I have made it work and I'm able to live as an actor, but it's definitely like, slow and steady and some years are a little more steady and then, It's yeah, it's an interesting. It's been interesting, but I have to say I knock on my head and I do feel lucky. So so that's cool. But yeah, I think a lot of people often wonder if like they went to high school with me or if they they don't know where they know me from.
It's raising hope
Yes, that's I can sometimes guess. I'll like look at the person and then I'll be
what
like,
they're
what is it?
wearing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like cargo shorts, raising hope. Cargo shorts. I
Definitely.
was gonna say something else, but I forgot where I was going. What's on your shirt? That's what it was.
Oh, it's Mike Viola. Are you familiar with
Oh
Mike
yeah,
Viola? He's such a great songwriter, and
of course.
this is his album. I think it's from the Paul McCartney album that is his latest. And my husband Jake plays bass and on that entire album, and they actually just did a West Coast tour that they just got back from. So I got a bunch of merch.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
Yeah, I've been a Mike fan for a long time. I opened for Mike with my solo stuff back in like maybe 2009 or 10, so that's when I first met him and I became obsessed with his albums back then. And then when I met Jake, he was like, "Oh, Mike's a good friend," and they've written a ton together, and they also did the last Panic at the Disco album together, and with along of course with Brendan Urie. And so yeah, they're just like it's a very cool creative group, and Mike is awesome. We're actually going to be doing a benefit together at the Bob Baker Marionette Theater in December, which we have to plan, but it'll be fun. So
Abby, do you want to tell her why you're freaking out?
yeah, why are you freaking out?
Because I want to go to the Marionette Theater
Come to the
so
theater.
desperately. I'm so far away.
Oh, well, next time you're in LA, I've been doing a show there maybe every other month or so for the past maybe 6 months, 7 months. I don't know. I guess the first one I did was in April. But my album release is gonna be that show's on November 5th. And yeah, I don't know. One of these days it'll line up.
One day we're on the other coast and hoping to be on the West Coast around this time next year.
You're gonna
Yeah.
move out here?
No, we're just gonna
Just
come
travel.
tour the pod
Fun. Oh, that's
for a few
great.
cities.
And you're in Florida, is that right? I knew
Mhm.
this from listening.
Oh,
I
wow.
did my homework. But yeah, no, I feel like. Do you have any kids, or if any friends with kids, bring them to the theater. I mean, honestly, you don't need to have kids to go to the theater. I used to go there all the time before I had kids, but it's really fun, and often people who don't know what to expect like can't stop giggling in a way because it's like some people almost feel. I don't want to say uncomfortable, but the marionettes are just so like you don't expect it in some way, and it is just the best. I love it. It's one of my favorite places in Los Angeles. So, yeah, please
We're
let me know
going.
when you're out here, and I'll make sure that I'll lead you to the right place.
Yeah, I mean it's a must now. It's come up on the pod several times.
Oh, cool. That's great.
So it's more or less the universe pushing us there as well.
Yeah, I mean they're also just doing really cool things. I hosted the kids talent show at Bob Baker Day this year, which is in a park, and it was like being at like a mini Coachella with a bunch of kids just like jumping up and down and like dancing. And it I was like, wow, this is way more than I had expected. I was like, oh yeah, I'll host a talent show. That sounds fun. And then I got there and I was like, what the heck is going on? It's the most fun. So yeah, I think they're doing really cool things at the theater. And the shows are also beautiful. I just saw the one that they did called Hooray LA, which was honoring all of like Los Angeles history. And it's just magic. So yeah, come on by.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, we'll definitely just have to go regardless. We have a date. We have a loose date. We're supposed to be there for um this Lost documentary premiere,
Oh,
and
what's
they
that?
don't it's called Getting Lost, and you may know some of these people. The guy who made the last
Oh,
blockbuster
yes,
documentary
which
is
I
making the
know.
Lost documentary with a friend of ours, and
Oh,
we
cool.
donated, and he's like, come to the premiere. We don't know when it is,
That's
but it'll be
great.
in like September, is what he said.
Is it about the TV show Lost or something? Okay,
It
gotcha.
is, it is. And it coincides with like the 20th anniversary of the plane crash.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So we're gonna
Yeah.
double up and do like a little California tour of the pod.
Fun. Oh, that's cool.
So if we're out there and have the time, we'll have you on. It'd be great.
Oh, let me know. I'll be
Uh,
here.
cool. Let's get some dumb questions
Yeah,
in.
let's do
That's
it.
that's the
Let's do
name of
it.
the game.
Great.
Okay, so back to, do you still have an, oh man, it's gonna bug me if I can't find it. Do you still have, hold on. Oh, it's too far. The wolf hat?
No, I actually never owned that wolf hat. It was in the trunk of I was getting headshots, and the guy who was doing the photography, which I don't remember his name now, but he was really nice, and he had that in the back of his truck, and he just put it on my head, and it became a thing for me.
I have the same wolf hat,
You have the same
and
one?
it's like 6 feet too far for me to reach right now.
Oh, dang it. That's okay. I believe
And
you.
it's a good thing to put on, especially now my daughter's getting older and she doesn't care if I match or like what I wear on Halloween. It's a perfect thing to wear on Halloween.
Easy. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I'm going all out. I normally don't dress up at all for Halloween. And but I think this year we're Ghostbusters, all of us, which will be
Oh, that was
fun.
one of my first that I remember being,
Really?
yeah.
In the 80s?
I want to say like 87,
That would
88.
totally make sense. Yeah.
And it was very, and I know I have the photo somewhere, but it's very plastic. It's very cheap. It's like a,
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
definitely like a grocery store spot.
Yep. No, I remember those.
What's okay? There's lies our question. What's the first Halloween costume you remember?
The first one I remember, I was a clown, which is, just pretty much a general but I remember there was a hula hoop. My aunt had sewn the costume. It was like a homemade, and there was a hula hoop around my waist, so it looked like I was like kind of like a that was like the crazy part about it. But then my favorite one that I ever was my dad for third grade. My dad made me an Italian spaghetti table with like the red and white checker, the tablecloth and then the spaghetti hair and then like a little wine glass. And then I made that same one for a little girl I babysat for when I first moved out here, and I upped it, and I even had like Italian music blasting, and like, it was really it's like my favorite go-to is the Italian restaurant.
Oh goodness. Does this have anything to do with Billy Joel?
No, I don't think so, but I do love Billy Joel. You know
I
this about
know.
me?
I do. It comes up a lot in other stuff you do.
Oh yeah. I in fact, now that I remember, that was like a talking point in an Easy episode that I did where I kept talking about my Billy Joel obsession. And I have a Billy Joel t-shirt collection. But yes, I don't think it has anything to do with Billy Joel, but that's a good point. Maybe it's just because I'm
Subconsciously.
Italian. Yeah.
You have a Billy Joel t-shirt collection? How
I
many in your
do.
collection?
Oh, like 7, but I got a lot of them. Now they're harder to find originals, the ones that I have. But I got a bunch of them like maybe 10, 15 years ago, but I still wear a lot of them like often.
Oh, that's cool. I love Billy Joel.
Me
So we
too.
have this written down. What's
Okay.
your favorite punk rock cover of a Billy Joel song?
Oh gosh. I
Can
don't
you
know.
think
Is
of it?
there? I mean, there must be since
There's
you're
a
asking
lot.
me this question. But I don't know of any. So now I'm just wondering which song I'd like to hear as a punk rock.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Yeah.
more like it.
Um, Summer Highland Falls as a punk rock version. That's what I'd like to hear. They say that these are not the best of times. Like I don't know. That was
Yeah,
terrible, but
that was pretty good.
thank you.
I can't wait for your next album. It's
Yeah.
just punk rock.
Let me
Billy
write
Joel.
that down so I don't forget. That's what I should do.
Exactly. Exactly. Mine is Abby. Do you have one? Do you know one off the top of your head?
I mean, I feel like they're all Uptown Girl.
Yeah, they're all just.
Well, I like Me First and the Gimme Gimmes did that, and
Mhm.
like every other band. And then there's that new, they're not really punk, but the We Didn't Start the Fire
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
that
with
just came
Fall Out
out.
Boy.
Yeah.
Oh
Right.
yeah, they did like a updated one, right?
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
hear that one, but I gotta say that is like probably my least favorite Billy Joel song. Is We Didn't Start the Fire.
That's
Is it any reason?
I just to me it's like the monotony of it. It's like there's
Yeah.
no he's so melodic, and that song's just like it's the same thing
Yeah.
over and over. There's nothing to latch onto for me in that one. other than
So
facts.
true. It's like a good history lesson.
Exactly.
Here you go. Want to learn about the 80s? Um, what is one song you heard the cover first? We all have this.
Oh,
Where we're like, oh wait, where we heard like this is a dumb example, but like Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams, or
right.
mine literally was a punk rock version of Only the Good Die Young, because I was young and I skewed like punk rock. And
Yeah.
before I fell in love with Billy Joel, I heard that and I was like, this is good. And my older sister was like, oh, this is a cover. And I was like, what?
That was
Wow.
also me first in the Gimme Gimmes.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, bringing it
Well,
all
because
back
that was
around.
their whole
Yeah.
shtick. They just did cover. But go back to the question because I want to know.
Question.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
It's a good question.
I'm racking my brain. I just can't think of one. But I have a memory, a really funny memory about this, but it's not my. But I remember when they was it Diddy Puff Daddy, I don't know what his name was at the time when he did the Sting
Yeah.
cover, right? That
It
was that.
was Missing You was, yeah.
Yes.
He was Puff Daddy then because he
Yes, it
did
was like
that after
90.
Biggie was killed.
Right. So I was listening to the radio and they played the Sting version, and some kid called in and they were like, "What did they do to Puff Daddy's song?" But and I remember thinking that was really funny, and I love that they actually played that on the radio. That the kid was confused, but I don't know that I have one of my own. I'm sorry, I sound like I can't. I'm sure there is one. I just don't. I can't recall.
It's okay. There's
Do you
no
guys
wrong
have one?
answers.
Well, Instagram lately will keep reminding me that Natalie Imbruglia did not, Torn was not her song.
No,
That
I'm
was a
learning
cover
something.
That's
of
devastating.
a 90s kind of grungy band called Edna something.
Oof.
Edna Swap, I want to say.
Oh,
Are they Australian?
I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't remember. My other one would probably be Knocking on Heaven's Door,
oh yeah,
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
that's not theirs.
That's a
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan
Oh
song.
right.
Yeah.
Oh well, you just taught me that, but then I did know that
But as soon
somewhere.
as you hear
Yes,
it,
Yeah,
yes,
of
of
course.
course.
yep.
It's the same as All Along the Watchtower. I feel like I heard the Jimi Hendrix version way before I heard the
The
Bob
Dylan.
Dylan version. That's a good one. That was a good pool. Oh man, we could talk about that. We could just get totally sidetracked with this one. But we won't. What's the last thing you doodled?
Oh, the last thing I doodled. It's funny because I'm at my husband's studio and I pulled up and I was like, oh, I forgot I drew that, but I got these chalk markers that are actually like, if it rains, it'll go away, but they feel like a marker for tagging. And I just drew like a little guy in the pavement, but maybe that was like a couple nights ago. But no, I must have drawn since then. I mean, doodle, that would be a doodle. I draw every day, but like a kind of mindless doodle, just a guy in some chalk on the pavement. That sounds like a murder.
True. It's shaped like a body.
Yeah.
Do you doodle in the margins of your notebooks?
I mean I did. I just don't have notebooks like that anymore. But in high school, all my I was just that's all I did. But you know, and I'd get in trouble for sketching and or drawing, and now they say that that's actually really helpful to for retaining information and listening and then drawing. If you're actually actively doing something while listening, it actually helps you remember the thing. So I guess I was onto something, but I was just bored. Also, you know.
Yeah. Well, that
Um,
makes me feel better too.
Yeah, I feel like though I don't keep notebooks like I'm sure it's probably a great thing. I feel like all the people I admire keep diaries and notebooks and I just have random scraps of paper everywhere.
Well, that's cool. You should collect those and make a a Kate coffee table book.
Oh my gosh, I just went through all the storage and I seem like a real crazy person. Just the pieces of and the thoughts and the weird everything. Just like I one thing it said, oh gosh, it was like you need a bigger house so your dreams can get bigger. But I've learned that that's not true. And actually, for me, the smaller the place I'm living with the less stuff, the more creative and the bigger I can be. If I have too much to handle and take care of, it's harder to generate. That's just something I've learned about myself lately.
That's great.
So I looked at that scrap of paper and I was like, that's wrong.
And then you ate it.
Yes.
You're talking to two people who write poetry and keep crazy lists, and it is so whatever you're pulling
I
out
put
of this.
tabs on the notebook I bought from the grocery store.
Oh, wow.
That's
And
something.
wait, did I just see doodles on there too?
Oh, I got like pages
Oh,
of doodles in
yeah.
here. I signed my name and then I doodle all over it. Oh
That's
yeah.
great.
Oh yeah.
Go to doodles. I love it. So fun. Okay, who's the first person you call when you get good news?
Usually my husband Jake and then my parents are second
Okay.
and or if one or the other. Yeah. But I guess it's nice that my husband would be my go-to person. That would make
Yeah.
sense. Maybe it would be weird if I didn't. I don't know.
Okay, we do this in every episode. It's real dumb. Kate Winslet, Kate Blanchett, or Kate Hudson?
Oh. Man.
Tough.
Uh that is a tough one. I like all of them. But I guess I'll go with Kate Blanchett only because I feel like I was like it takes a lot for me to get really starstruck, and I met her at an Oscar party last year, and I was like super starstruck by her, and I would just say she's very stunning, and she has I was captivated by her perfect teeth.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah.
Oh.
And
But
she just seems so classy.
she
Is she classy?
is so, and she's got that like very deep voice that's like so captivating, and I really met her for all of a minute, but I was just like yeah, I was definitely starstruck, and but I haven't met those other Kate, so maybe I would be just as starstruck by them, probably would be, but I'll just go with Kate Blanchett since she's the one that like it's like when you're like the being in LA, and you meet people, and it's usually like you kind of get used to like, oh yeah, hey, what's up, or how's it going, but like when you like can be sweaty and be like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking to this person, and like your brains go, that happened when I met her. So yeah, she's very
We're having it
stunning.
right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, right.
Just so you know.
we're gonna freak the fuck out after this. Just so that you know. Um, I must point out that she's the only one out of those that spells her name with a C.
Yeah, I was thinking that she
Yeah.
must be. I'm guessing a Catherine. I wonder if the other two are Catherines. I don't know. I
Follow-up
think.
question:
Uh huh.
Kate Nash or Kate Bush?
Kate Bush.
Okay.
Yeah, just I was obsessed with the kick inside.
Yeah.
So like I went through that whole like, that I have it on vinyl. It's so good. Those videos are amazing. And then also how cool that she had this like huge hit. What would it be, like 40 years later? Um and she just seemed also, I was reading an interview with her, and she seemed so just like cool and gracious about it, and like excited it happened, but wasn't like it. She just seems cool.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real. You know what's wild is listening to like that on modern Kids Bop is is redid that song, so it's really weird. Like these kids, it's like now that's what I call whatever, but
Right.
it's like that song's so old. It's a very
Yeah, right.
weird mind trip.
Also, I think her stuff is very like current. It sounds current.
Yeah,
If
of
you
course.
told me this
Oh
was a
yeah.
new person that just came out, yeah, like it sounds very. I actually think that when that song became popular, I started hearing other pop songs taking from her, from Kate Bush. So that's kind of cool.
Absolutely. If you said this young artist is from like Bushwick or Silver Lake or something like
Yeah,
that, you'd be like, "Oh, totally. I love him," you know.
I felt like even some of Taylor Swift's new stuff sounded like I felt like there was an influence there. I don't know, could
Yeah,
be
for
wrong, but it felt
sure.
like it.
Midnight's definitely.
Yeah.
We're big T Swifties.
I don't know all of it, but the stuff I hear on the radio, that's really all I know.
Yeah.
But I did not go to the Taylor Swift concert, but I was at the Beck show that was next door. We were at the Forum, and she was at the SoFi Stadium, and the sound that was coming out of that stadium was like it was unbelievable. Like just that many people singing along. I've never heard anything like it. It's wild.
That is pretty wild.
Yeah.
That makes me think of this is not the same, but Billy Joel. I saw Billy Joel's last play at Shea Stadium,
Oh, cool.
and it was fantastic. So many guest stars, but I was, obviously I was young and poor, and I was up, and the stadium was shaking, and it really freaked
Wow.
me out.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
To feel like a metal concrete stadium, and he's not like I don't know. We're dancing and stuff, but it's not like a metal show where it should be moving. And that was a really weird thing. I don't
Yeah, that is it kind of takes you out when you're like, am I going to fall through the floor? Yeah.
You see the headline the next day, like Shea Stadium crumbles under the pressure of Billy Joel.
While he's saying pressure.
Yes, there we go. Brilliant. Um, do you ever experience boredom? You do so much.
This is going to sound I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but yes, because I have a 3.5 year old, and I remember friends telling me like, get ready because there's a lot about parenting that's boring, and like, and as much as I really do feel like I play hard with him, and I we play like right now it's Ghostbusters, we're playing these scenes out over and over on a loop, but like there is still and it's actually getting more and more fun, but like especially when he was like 1 and 2, like and now too, like you just have to it's really a patience tester in every way. And so yes, I find myself being like, oh, especially when there's stuff I want to be doing, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for you to come down these stairs now, okay, or what, whatever it is, or like, please eat these eggs. Okay, we're still here. Like that's when I get bored, and I don't, and I'm so, I mean, being a mom is like, not to sound cheesy, it's it's all the things, it's great in every way. I really wanted to be a mom, I really wanted a little boy, it's all been awesome, but it's still boring. So at times, so yeah, that's when I'm bored.
I think we need to replace like boredom with impatience, or
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
that's not
that's
the
what it
right
is.
word, because the boredom I was talking about, that is definitely not. You're active, you are engaged. Like the boredom I'm talking about is like, what should we do now?
Oh yeah.
Hands on your hips, being like, well, and I think that's over for you, especially because it gets real fun at 4,
Real
like
that's
4,
everyone
5,
says it
6.
gets
Oh,
better and better.
it gets real fun and crazier. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I don't have the, oh, what should I do today
Yeah.
really ever, but I mean, I guess in some way I think I'm pretty lucky that like I've always had an idea. I will say like after having Mikey, like I was kind of just got lost for a little while. Like I didn't know what to do, or like but that too was probably just a postpartum depression more than anything, just being like, oh god, what do I do? I So there was boredom within not knowing how to make things, but then finding that again, like, no, I guess I don't really ever wonder, you know there's always a thing to do.
Yeah. Well, you do so much and then add a child into it. It's, boredom
Yeah,
is obsolete now.
that's
That's what we were
yeah,
getting at. You do so much cool shit. And on
thanks.
top of being a mom.
Thank you. I feel like now I really have so much that I am excited to make and do, and so I usually have like my list of like stuff I need. Like currently, right now, I'm drawing a coloring book that's gonna be a giveaway with the album, and so I basically I've been drawing a lot of things that are related to the album, so it'll be like a kid's coloring book. So that's like my to-do list of like something that has to get done. But then there's always like other stuff I want to do. I'll paint something. I really want to like do a there's a lot of wall space here that I want to draw on, but that's not as necessary. Or maybe it is.
Oh, this is so much fun. Does it calm you to draw, or is it intense for you?
No, I get actually like energized by it if I'm like I actually feel like, oh yeah, like more alive when I'm drawing,
Oh,
especially if
that's
I'm
cool.
listening to music while doing it. I feel really like pumped up. Yeah. In fact, I was a couple weeks ago I started doing some stuff at night. Like once I put Mikey to bed, I was drawing a lot. And and I was like I couldn't fall asleep because I was it was like I just drank a coffee or something.
Oh, we know that feeling. We're
Yeah.
if like 15 minutes before this, Abby and I were saying, "Oh man, it's such a long day. We're so tired." And then after this, especially, it'll be like, "All right, what can I do? We can conquer everything." The adrenaline, it comes right after this.
Yeah, well, I think it's fun to be like feeling making anything. Like, right now we're making a podcast, but like yeah, it's like making something is like fuel, I think.
Oh, 100%. And it keeps both all of us going. I love it. I love the creative process.
Yeah, me too. Me
And
too.
everyone's is so different. And I was talking with a friend of mine who's a writer in LA today, and I was like, and we were just talking about our process, and I was like, well, how do you write this thing? And his was like just crazy. Like what he told me, I was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And I was like, okay. And his process helped my process. It was very inspiring.
Yeah, I think like it's so I love listening. I learn a lot from podcasts and listening to people I admire and going, oh, what do they do? And yeah, people set timers or do like just different ways of like you know sometimes having to force yourself to sit down to make the thing. Um, yeah, I and also there's so much too that you like if you're not in the right mindset and you have to do a thing, sometimes you can get there and sometimes not, and that's okay. Or like sometimes forfeiting the day and being like, today's not my day, but tomorrow will be. But the struggle of today will help inform tomorrow, you know? So like being okay with the days that don't quite, turn out stuff that you're excited about, that's okay too.
Yeah, that's something I wish I could tell young Ryan is to be like, hey, it's okay. Like, kick back. Don't force it today. Tomorrow will be a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you mentioned drawing and music. What music are you into right now?
Oh, Ghostbusters. It's kind of been on repeat. Thank God that song is so good. Yeah.
You're talking
Uh,
about I Ain't Afraid of No Ghosts?
yeah, Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah.
Um,
The
when
line where
that's
he says Bustin' makes
makes
me
me
feel
feel good. Didn't get that when I was little. I
nope.
love hearing my when my 3.5-year-old sings that with like just the most earnest. Bustin' makes me feel good. It's so funny. I also want. I wish I could just like go back in time and be in that studio. And was that just like someone telling him last minute, like, "Hey, throw that in there," you know?
Or he's like, really, I gotta get this one line in there.
Another great thing about the song that my son pointed out is he goes, "Sing it louder," and then it fades out. Which I thought was pretty smart for a 3.5-year-old to point that one out. But he's right. And okay, but other than Ghostbusters, gosh, I mean, I've been like this summer was a big Mike Viola summer for me. Just listening to, I just really love his songs. And what else? Emily King, I was into her album this summer. I'm thinking about and Jenny Lewis's new album,
Nice.
Joyal. I was really into that this summer. I keep saying this summer because I feel like right now I haven't had. I've been doing a lot of radio lately, or Sirius XM, like 80s on 8. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what other. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. I'm also just like a big Broadway nerd and listen to Broadway stuff.
I was gonna get to that. It's perfect. You said what your son pulled out of Ghostbusters. My daughter is she's that's her jam is acting. She's 9. She's found her path as of right now. She loves Broadway musicals, and there are some that are a little bit dicier for her age.
Sure.
And so it's a cool thing for her to be like, she loves Legally Blonde.
Oh, it's so good.
She's like, what's a slut? And I'm like,
Oh.
that's a question for your mom. But it's
Yeah.
funny, she like we're not like guarded in, like she's a good kid and we wouldn't be mad if she sang that, but she'll be singing it and then that's the word she skips,
Oh, she
you know?
knows.
Yeah. And
That's
we're like,
really sweet.
it's all yeah, it's very funny and cute. So, what's the last Broadway musical you saw?
Um, the last one I saw, I went and saw Titanic, which is off Broadway. It is the telling of Titanic through Celine Dion's eyes with Celine Dion songs. And it was just so joyful. I highly recommend it if you're in New York. It's just such a fun show. And like I kind of forgot because like there's so many like 90s, like so many songs are like, oh, this is high school for me. And this one was high school for me. And the performances are all really great. Like it's the description of that show, like it'd be easy to like throw it into like cheese, but everybody plays it so real that like it just makes it that much better. You're not like, oh, this is over the top. It definitely is over the top, but because everyone's playing it so seriously, it's that much more funny. It's great. Highly recommend listening to some Celine Dion sung by some very talented actors. So
I like Abby's determined face right now. She's like gonna open this tab and save it. Like
yeah, it's great.
We're
So good.
gonna
Next
be
time you're
there in like 3 weeks.
yeah.
in New York,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
yeah, you got to go. Definitely. There's
Oh,
yeah, it's great. I'm trying to think. Oh, Shucked is also really good. I saw that over the summer. It's a musical about corn. And what else did I see over? Oh, Sweeney Todd. If you have a chance, go see that. It's
oh yeah.
amazing. But yeah, I think yeah, that was the last one I saw was Titanic.
Have you ever done Broadway?
No, but I would. I'm not a singer in the sense that like I don't think that I have the pipes for like that kind of Broadway musical thing, but I would love to be in like a play that doesn't require too much singing or like the funny role that I could kind of squeak by, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I could see if do you mean more projecting or just carrying like the like a I don't know, like a ballad or like a
Yeah,
heavy
I
song?
I don't really have the range, I do this cuz I've got like an octave range. I feel like I almost auditioned for a musical and I was going to singing lessons to try to like prepare to audition even. And the singing instructor was like, "Yeah, maybe just you're not quite ready yet." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I know." And I was like, singing in my car, doing all the warm ups, but which I do those warm ups even just when going to do voiceover or something, just to get the pipes going. but but yeah, I mean it's a dream, but I don't know if I'd ever be like I don't I definitely don't I'm not like a singer in that way. But I when I write music, I write it for my my octave range. That's about it.
I could see it happening. The right role will come.
That would be pretty darn cool. I would love it. I'm such a nerd for Broadway. I always like I just think about it a lot. I read a lot about it. I listen to a lot of stuff. I listen to the Broadway channel a lot.
I listen to
Um,
that on Sirius now because my
yeah,
kid.
yeah,
Um,
totally.
and I growing up, and this is, I know we're gonna get the flack for this. I did not watch musical theater, movies, or it just wasn't in my world. So now I love learning about it like in retrospect and through her. So it's like and again, I know nothing. Like I'm coming with a clean slate. I just saw Sound of Music for the first time, and I'm 40 years old.
Wow. Yeah. No, I mean, I think I only saw it once when I was little, and that's one that people watch over and over. But I think too for me, like aside from Singing in the Rain, there weren't many musical movies that I like. I loved Judy Garland movies when I was little, but as far as like Oklahoma the movie or The Music Man the movie, like I wasn't really into those types of movies. And even today, like I'd just much rather see the stage production.
Oh, I agree with you. Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Real dumb question.
Okay.
Kidney, garbanzo, black, lima, green, or pinto?
Hmm. Oh gosh. I don't now this is just making me question my knowledge of what beans are what. Can you say it again?
Well, okay, you could just throw out your favorite type of beans here, but I was like, I personally was like, how many beans can I name? It's not that many. Kidney, garbanzo, black, lima, green, or pinto.
Oh, and I just realized why you're even asking me this question. I was like, this is
You
such a random question. Oh
what?
yeah, I have a song called Bucket of Beans.
You have a song called Bucket of Beans, which has been playing in my car with my daughter
Oh,
over and over
thanks.
again. She's into
Thank
it. Yeah.
you. I'm glad. That's so nice.
We're both singing it even outside of the car.
That's it is a catchy one, I think.
It's very catchy.
Thank you for listening. I feel like I'll go with oh gosh. I really like baked beans. Was that in there?
Well, aren't baked beans just like, are they a specific bean?
I don't know.
What's the type of bean? I think that's the method of bean.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure. What's a bean? What's the kind of bean in a baked bean? Because it's got like the sugar in it, you know, for the barbecue
Yeah, the
flavor
barbecue.
and the um
It's navy beans.
Navy
navy
bean.
beans.
I
Well,
thought that
that
was a
was
soup.
I
Well,
just learned
navy bean
something.
soup.
I don't know. It makes me think of the Seinfeld episode, Navy bean. Or what's a Yankee bean? That's the soup, right? Maybe I'm all messed up. Let's talk about beans for 25 minutes.
I don't know that I've ever heard of a Yankee bean.
I don't think I have either. Oh my God. Yankee beans and Yankee bean soup are a thing.
I'm wearing a Yankees hat, that's
I
why.
was just
Boom.
gonna say, like, do they serve this at the
They
stadium?
serve it at Yankees in a helmet.
Yankee
Yeah.
beans is actually a recipe made from northern beans.
There are so
Okay.
many beans.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So navy bean is the type of bean in baked beans. So
So I
that's what
guess my answer
that's what
would
we
be the
landed on.
navy.
In your can of Bush's baked beans,
Navy
it's navy
beans.
beans.
Fair
Great.
enough.
All right.
Okay, just forgive this. Here we go. A pail of pralines or a jar of jeans.
Oh, let's go with the jar of jeans.
Where'd you
Because
get
I
those
just
jeans? I got them in a jar.
jar, that just like kind of would be, I don't know. I wanted to see that. You
Yes,
know, I want to see jeans through some glass.
a jar of jeans. I will say that I felt comfortable asking you that question. There are sometimes we write these questions and then it's a whole different ballgame asking them. And we're like, she'll like this silly, stupid question.
I love it.
So
Now I
thank
got
you.
to draw it.
Please draw a
A
jar of
jar of
jeans.
jeans coming right up.
It'd be funny if you just had it. You're like, I did this earlier. Okay, this is an Abby question. What do you have a personal method for peeing in overalls? Bonus points for airports.
Oh, is there a easier way that I haven't figured out? Is my big question. No. You just basically. I
Do
mean,
you
I was
like
gonna say
tie
have to get
it
kind of
around your
naked.
wrists
No.
and like,
Oh no. Just bunch
you
it.
run it?
Yeah, you just have to bunch them. I bunch them up. I have no real system. Oh, although now I'm picturing it, I do. I throw. Wow, I have an answer. I throw the straps inside the pants so they don't go on the floor.
Yeah.
That is what I do, and I didn't even
That's
think of
so
like I had to
smart.
like envision it, and then I'm like, that is what I do. Yeah,
That's so. I'm like bunching and holding.
yeah,
They're not on the floor, but I'm gonna do that
yeah.
now.
It
I
makes
just
sense.
I just thought you guys took them off completely and threw them over the stall.
Yes.
Took
Hmm.
your time.
Hmm.
There is a
That and
thing more about
rompers.
like coveralls, especially if you don't, because
Yeah.
then you don't have a shirt on. You're just basically naked peeing.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
vulnerable,
Yeah,
especially in like a Newark airport.
And there's always that crack in the middle of
yeah.
Oh, the
that.
crack. Can't we
Ugh.
make the stalls like top to bottom,
There was a Shark Tank episode where these people had made like a little thing to cover the crack,
like a
but I don't
disposable
know.
thing that you bring
But then
with you?
it's one more thing I gotta carry.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
Set it
even
I
up.
like
don't
umbrellas.
I don't get pockets in most of my clothing.
Uh,
Yeah, just one of those things you got to do.
yeah, peanut overalls. It's come up. That's come up a couple times as well. We talked about being creative. Let's say before child, what little hour was were you most creative in the day?
Ah, and it's still the same, but now it's just harder. I like if I allow myself like 8:39, 10, like I'm a night person and I love making stuff at night. But because I have to get up earlier, it's always like either forfeit that part of the night, like even though that's my magic time, or I just am tired the next day. So yeah, but yeah, I like in my like ultimate like creative time, like I would go to bed, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and wake up at like 10. That was always like kind of you know the creative. If I could pick, that would be the hours I work. But now not
A
so
night
much.
person though.
I
That's
am a night, and I turn on at night, and sometimes I'm just like it's just always how I
Were you
am.
always like that as a kid, or do you think that's something learned just performing most shows at night, something like
Oh,
that?
I wonder if that has something to do with it. As a kid, my parents were so strict about bedtime and wake up time, so I didn't really have my own choice there. So I don't really know. Uh yeah, I was never allowed to sleep in as a kid. I've always had to I was woken up if my alarm didn't wake me up. My dad woke me up. Come on, the day started. Don't be lazy. Let's go. Like, oh, especially as a teenager when you're growing. Yeah. But no, I don't, so I don't really know. But I guess in college is when I, started realizing that nighttime is the right time.
Well, you just said alarm clock, and we have this one written. Are you, when you set your alarm the night before, are you a set it and forget it type of person? Or are you a set it, I'm watching a show and checking it every commercial to make sure you're really set it?
So I set it, then I double check it, triple check it, and then wake up like 5 times in the middle of the night going, did I miss it? Because you just don't want to be late. Especially, yeah, if it's for the airport or for a job, like, especially like for a job, you never want to be late. Those early mornings, they can be brutal, but you got to do it. Yeah.
Oh man, I envy those people who are like, it's set for 5 o'clock. I'm going to bed, and then you never think about it.
Especially I have OCD, which it's a lot better now, but like that is one of those like check it, is the stove off? Is the light off? Is the water off? Did I set my alarm? All those things.
Similar vein, when you're brushing your teeth or washing in the shower or even washing your hands, what's the lather ratio? You going heavy lather, light lather? Does it
Oh,
depend?
it does depend.
Mm.
Like if I've just come back from like the airport or something, that's a good lather. That's a really good like yeah, and like that's like alcohol on the phone and like all that stuff. But I'd say it's a medium, like a one happy birthday, and then, and then sometimes they say you're supposed to sing it twice, but
I love that we all have that. That's a generational thing without a doubt.
the
And
singing happy birthday.
yeah, but for
Yeah.
me it's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star
Okay.
because I worked in restaurants for a long time, and whenever like you would do like a health course every so often, they would be like, "Oh, sing Twinkle," and that, well, at least the ones I did, and that's oh man, I'm gonna be like 100 years old, and that's still gonna be in the back of my brain.
Yeah, just singing.
Oh, that reminds me, you're a tea drinker, correct?
Oh yeah.
We love
That's
tea.
so funny that you know these things. Wow, you're blowing my mind.
Well, we do our research. We
Yeah.
called your folks. Uh, um, you've been around. You've been working steadily forever, and it's just out there, and it helps us because we want to ask different questions. So my question is, what kind of tea should I have after this?
Oh, well, I guess my question for you is, are you affected by caffeine? Because it's getting to be later in the day and I wouldn't want to mess up your sleep.
For no caffeine at this hour.
Um, oh gosh. Well, I don't know. There's this. I like a chamomile, but I don't have like a brand for you that I can say. But like a vanilla. I love like a vanilla kind of tea too that doesn't have caffeine. But because then you can put some milk in it and it kind of tastes like a desserty kind of thing. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have a specific. Harney and Sons is like they come in a tin. Those are my favorites,
Yeah.
and they look fancy, and they're also my go-to like housewarming or hey, it's your birthday, thanks for that's like my go-to gift, and yeah, but my favorite caffeine tea from Harney and Sons is called Paris. Sounds so fancy.
I can't wait to buy it. I
Yeah,
love tea. I worked at a tea
Paris is
shop
great. Oh, you did?
forever. I
What
yeah,
was
in
the
New
tea
York.
shop?
It was in New York. It's called Alice's Teacup.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You
I've
know
been there.
this? Yeah.
Yes.
If it
That's
was
cool.
between 2008 and 2012, chances are I was your server and I was stoned.
You might have. I'm trying to. No, I think I was there after the fact, after the 2012. But that's fun.
Yeah, and I just have a crazy amount of tea, and that's like I'm coffee during the day and usually tea at night.
I didn't drink coffee until I went to Europe. My husband was touring with Beck, and I was the girlfriend on the bus for the European tour. They were like, "Do you want to join?" And I was like, "Yeah," and it was so fun. And that is when I started drinking coffee. So that was only like 6 years ago.
Oh wow.
But now I'll just have it in the morning again because it'll mess up my sleep. But but I do love a good tea. That is for sure.
I don't know where we saw it, but it's out there.
Yeah, that's
Like
funny.
it's
For a long
wild.
time, I never drank coffee. Yeah.
Okay, would you rather live in a library, a mall, or a grocery store?
A mall. But like, okay, but a mall of our childhood, like with all like the Spencer gifts and the just like what was that other one that had the electronics? Oh gosh, what
Like
was that
Radio
called?
Shack or
Um Sharper
Brookstone?
Image. And
Yes,
Brookstone was a
Sharper
good
Image.
one.
Yeah.
Yes. Um I love looking at pictures of malls from like the 80s and 90s, and then now there's like a whole Instagram like you can go down a rabbit hole looking at them. But I love that, like especially the brown tones and the smell of the chlorine and the fountains and those big green plants, and like the aesthetic was so much more interesting than I think, and of course they're all malls are dying, but there's nothing to really look at now. But I love a good old mall.
I love a good old mall. There's two malls by us, and one is like the fancy. This is how I describe it. It's the fancy one with the Apple store.
Okay.
I like the other one that still has a Spencer's Gifts and like Auntie Anne's pretzels. It's a little shittier, you know. And yes, you're talking to two products of the 90s. I feel like Abby within this last week has sent me a mall photo of some sort. Probably our local mall when we grew up. We grew up
And
together.
oh,
So
where did you grow up together? What part of the country?
Orlando. We were in Orlando.
Oh, there had to be some really good malls
Mm-hmm.
because I would imagine there's a lot of tourists
many different
and a lot
types
of
of malls.
yeah. That's really cool. I grew up going well. Two malls are big in my life. We lived in New Jersey until I was 8, and of course, New Jersey is known for
Paramus.
malls.
That's I used to go to the Paramus Mall.
Oh yeah, I went to the Bridgewater Commons. I
Okay.
remember the day it opened, and my mom, who was in her early 30s when it opened, so of course it's like she's going to the mall all the time. It's brand new, and in my first and second grade journal, there is a mention of the mall like every page. Today we went to the mall. Mom bought a Swatch watch. Like there's just so much about like that time, and yeah, that mall was big in my life. And then we moved to Pennsylvania, and the Lehigh Valley Mall, which was built, I think, in the late 70s. So it was kind of an older, that had the big, the plants and stuff that I loved.
And the
But
brown.
the brown,
Yeah.
yeah. The wood and the tiles, all brown.
So brown.
Why were
Yeah.
the 70s and 80s so brown?
I don't know.
Look at
And
photos and
Do you
orange.
it's like
remember Brown McDonald's?
orange.
I that's like what I remember. Yeah, those McDonald's, that's how we grew up.
Yeah, for sure. You said orange. I remember like it was brown with all kinds of orange accents in my home. Yeah.
That sounds cozy.
It was probably it's probably so cozy and a little too dark.
Yeah.
Uh, it's always a little too dark.
Did you guys
Okay.
both go to Disney World a lot? I'm sure you get to ask this a lot, but
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Abby.
Oh, I was gonna say not a lot, at least until high school, because then everybody started working there, so you got free
right.
tickets.
Did either of you work there?
I
You
did.
did. What'd you do?
I did parade audience control, so I yelled at
Oh,
you to stand behind the lines during the parades. And I was like 15. I worked there from 15, 16, 17. Or I'm sorry, 16, 17, 18. And I thought it was amazing when I worked. I loved every second of it.
wow. I marched through the Magic Kingdom in Orlando when I was 14 in with the marching band. We got to be the one of the bands for one parade. It was very cool.
Was it the day parade or the Main Street Electrical Light Parade?
It was the day parade.
Oh, okay.
And I was 14, but I will say there was still something very jarring about going backstage and seeing characters
Yeah.
about at their heads and stuff. Like I obviously knew like this was not real, but I was still in that like little bit of a zone of like, oh, that hurts, to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a cool place to grow up.
It was pretty cool. We were a little far. I mean, Orlando's pretty big. We were like pretty far from it. But yeah, there was a moment at like 16 where everybody had a friend that worked at Disney.
That would totally make sense.
And it was
Yeah,
great. And this at 16, you're making like $12 an hour.
that's pretty
You're
good.
crushing it. You get
Yeah.
discounts all over town if you flash that thing. You're like at the AMC, you're like, I'll take $1 off my Star Wars episode 1, please. You know?
I went to see that with my dad, and as soon as as soon as it ended, but before the credits rolled, my dad really loudly went, "I smell sequel," and it got a big laugh.
Oh my God. I'm
It
gonna
was
do
pretty
that
funny.
now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that in a movie that very obviously will not have a sequel.
Like
That's
Oppenheimer.
great.
Like,
Oppenheimer 2.
keep opping.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
perfect.
I'm ashamed of that.
It should
No,
be.
that was great.
Okay, sticking with the grocery store, if you can, and you mentioned malls growing up. I have this written. What's the name of the grocery store you went to growing up?
Oh, ShopRite. That was in New Jersey, and then I later worked at a ShopRite. I had a job where I babysat kids while their parents shopped. They offered a babysitting service, and it was chaos. They didn't do it for very long, but yeah. So I worked at a grocery store for a little while for one summer.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Okay, in your current grocery store, which way do you start?
to the right.
And what's to the right?
Well, I guess I went to the grocery store today, and they really don't give you an option. You have to start in the right, but it's the produce. The produce, but this grocery store that we go to a lot, which is amazing, is one of those that have like just a million cameras.
Okay.
So it's just taking photo, or it knows what you've put in your cart, and then you check out. Like you don't have to check out; you just walk out.
Oh, I've seen this with like
It's
Amazon.
it's an Amazon Whole
Amazon
Foods.
does this.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
it's like isn't
It's
that
just scanning
wild?
you as you go.
Yes. And
RFID and all that.
isn't that crazy?
That's
Mhm.
wild.
It's
There's
That's
an
pretty cool.
SNL
Oh, they did
where
one?
Oh, you're right.
where
Yes.
it gets really racist.
Yeah.
Oh no. I missed
It's
that
really
one.
good. It was last season.
Okay.
It's really good.
We're obsessed with this store. Like, to
Yeah.
see how long it takes to go grab a few things and get out.
Do you ever run and like do a supermarket sweep and see, and then go look at your account and be like, they missed one, they missed a banana.
No, I never, but I loved watching that show when I was a kid.
I feel like we are similar age, similar sensibilities
Yep,
here.
totally.
Do you know? I'm assuming you know why we asked those grocery store
Because I
questions.
have a song
Kate?
called Grocery Store.
Oh, we
And
love
I'm
it.
excited. The video comes out. Well, I'm not sure when this comes out, but the video comes out this Friday. It's really fun. We're shooting in grocery stores until we got yelled at, and then we'd go to another grocery store, and then we'd get yelled at, and then we'd go to another grocery store. We were just shooting on our phone, so it wasn't like we were a big production or anything.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
No Amazon police showed up.
No, we didn't go to that one. That one's too fancy.
Too fancy. Okay. So we told you we've been rooting for you forever, and it's
Thank
no
you.
joke. You're one of those people that it's like for our whole lives, you'll pop up on something like, oh, we like her. She's great. And
Oh,
now even more so. So thank you. That begs the
that's really
question,
nice.
who are you rooting for? And it could be anyone.
Oh, oh my gosh. Um, oh, that's such a hmm. Well, the first person that comes to mind is Melissa Villasenor, who was on SNL. I love her, and I'm always rooting for her. So that was the first person that popped in my head. I think she's just so talented, and also she does great art. And I think we were very similar in a way that we do a lot of art. We do music. She sings, and but I'm always rooting for Melissa. And gosh, trying to think of. I mean, there's probably a lot of people I'm rooting for. There is, but she was the first person that came to mind.
A good one. She's so funny.
Yeah, and she's just a good person too. So yeah.
I think and this is just me talking. I gravitate towards silly people in the best possible way. Anyone who I know, I'm like, oh, they're so silly. And I mean that with all like adoration.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just also because I think those types of people, they can throw a curveball that will just delight you. So
Yeah, of course,
yeah.
of course. So, Kate, we end every episode with a song from our guests.
Okay.
You have some new music coming out.
Yeah.
What song do you want us to end the episode with?
Oh, I guess just because I would love people to know about my album, I hope it's not too self promotional to say one of my own songs from the album. Is that
No,
okay?
yeah, that's exactly what we're
All
getting at.
right. Well, for all the people who haven't heard Bucket of Beans, which I'm assuming are a lot of people, let's end this with a Bucket of Beans, if that's okay. And the album comes out on November 3rd, and I hope you enjoy it. And people are. I'm calling it a kids album, and there's like 2 tracks in there that are actually written for kids, but the rest were just written from just me. But then people are like, "That's a kids album," so yeah, it's kid friendly, and it wasn't intentionally a kids album to begin with, but it steered that direction then. So
I mean, Bucket of Beans has like a punk rock thing to it.
yeah, it's
It's like
got a
a
good.
bucket of beans.
Yeah, thanks. That's where it started. I had this just bucket of beans in my head, and I was like, "What is this?" And I just built it around bucket of beans. And then I was like, "I can't freaking crack this. Why can't I crack this?" And my friend Steph came over, who's a songwriter, and I was like, "I gotta figure out this bucket of beans." And she said, "Well, what does a bucket of beans mean to you?" And I was like, "Aha!" And we sat together and we finished it. It was really fun writing with her. But yeah, I definitely I was singing bucket of beans for months before I actually knew what the song was.
So use this moment. What's next for you for the album? Tell the people, yes, this is why you're here. Promote. It's not just stupid questions,
Oh
Wanna
yeah. Okay. Well, I guess yeah. The album comes out November 3rd. I'll be doing an album release show at the Bob Baker Marionette Theater on the 5th of November at 4:30. So if you're in LA, come on by. And like I said, I'm drawing a bunch of pictures for the coloring book that's eventually going to be available. So if you like to color, look for that.
can we buy that online?
Yes, eventually
Okay.
I have to set all that stuff up. But yes, it will be available online. You're
Okay,
reminding me
cool.
to do that. Thank you.
I will definitely buy one for myself and another one for my daughter because
Great.
we have different coloring styles and we might get mad at each other.
Oh, that's sweet.
No, you're not.
um, well, I'm not, it's more me to be honest with you.
Do
It's
you
like
stay in the lines or does she stay in the lines?
we both kind of break the rules a little bit, but
Nice.
it's just how we go about those breaking of the rules.
Right, right.
I'm very much encouraged. Color outside the lines, go nuts, blah blah. But then she'll be like, "Let me color yours." I'm like, "No, you can't. I'm doing mine.
Yeah,
Do it. You have your own."
I get that. You have pride in what you're doing. You want to keep doing the thing you're doing.
This is a glimpse into my father or like me being a father. Is that we'll be playing like a board game And if there's multiple people and for some reason she's out, she'll be like, Daddy, let me help you. And I'm like, I got it. I got it. Like I also don't like hints. Like if she's like, I got you something for your birthday and it's pink. I'm like, don't tell me. I like to be surprised.
Did you grow up with siblings?
Yeah, I have 2 sisters.
Are they older or younger?
Both split. I'm
Okay.
right now.
I think that explains it. Not to be but like you were protective of your stuff. You didn't, you know what I mean? Like you were like, I've got to guard my stuff.
Yeah, and similar ages. I grew up in a time way before the internet where if something broke, you're never getting it again. So if your sibling broke some, the chances of you getting the same exact like action figure was unlikely in my world.
That makes sense, I think. I mean, I'm no psychiatrist, or therapist. You're guarding your coloring book. It totally makes sense. Yeah,
it's getting weird. Let's change the subject. Kate. Kate, if you could bother any musician, live or dead, who would you bother in the same vein as bothering the band?
Oh, Billy Joel, man, has to be.
So what would you ask him? What dumb question would you ask?
Oh, dumb question. I'd probably ask him like what he likes to eat. But I'll try to be more specific. Yeah, and I'd be like, of course.
I think you have to ask him what a bucket of beans means to him.
Yeah. Oh, that's a perfect thing. I wish I had thought of that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Billy Joel, what does a bucket of beans mean to you? That would be nice.
We got to get him on now.
Yeah, and you got to ask him that question and let me know what he says.
Oh, you're coming on and hosting this thing because obviously I'm no good at it. You're going to do way better. Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, thank you for playing our dumb game.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for asking me to do this. Thank you for having me. I had such a nice time talking with you both.
Yeah, us too. Like, again, this is a no joke. When we started doing this 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, we have a running bucket list of who to get, and you were on that.
Oh, that's so nice. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, so cool.
I feel like I mean, like you said, I think we have a lot of similar interests, and it made talking to you very easy. And how many episodes is this now?
Oh, like 200 almost.
We're at 160 something.
That's impressive, especially for that's a full-time gig. So that's
loads
cool.
Of fun.
Well, let me know how to promote it. I'll put it on Instagram and all the things.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Congrats on the music.
Thank you.
Everything, you're crushing it. And again, for as long as you're, putting out public things, we're going to be watching them and go, we're rooting for her.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much.
And when you make your Broadway debut, we'll be like, we told her to do that.
I would someday. I hope that would be so cool. Thank you. I know my friends do it, and I see how tired they are, but also how it's like the coolest thing. So, yeah.
Can you imagine doing 2 like
8 shows a week? Oh my god,
man, that's
all your whole life. Yeah,
it's crazy. We do one live show, and then we're like afterwards, like I'm so tired. Yeah. How does like Taylor Swift do this? That's crazy.
Oh my god, I know. Ricky and I used to do when we first started 1 show Friday, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 1 show Sunday, and we would go like we'd fall over. It was so hard.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I hope you have a good evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, you too. All right, have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.
I was sitting on my front stoop, looking kind of pretty with my lemonade stand in New York City. Would you like a glass? A straw would be nice. Let me pour the lemonade and put it on ice. That'll be $2. The math's not hard. You can pay in cash or a credit card or a bucket of beans. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't need a private jet. Don't need designer jeans. Just a bucket of beans. What? A bucket of beans? Oh! I was sitting in my backyard feeling kind of pretty, blowing out my candles, 'cause it's my birthday. My friends are there, my moms are there, my neighbor Gary with no hair is there. They're all staring. Oh, hey, Aunt Karen, thank you for the weirdly shaped gift bag. Open it, open get a Jeep? No. Did you get a flamingo? No. Did you get a fish tank? No. I got the only thing I need, a bucket of beans. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't need a private jet, don't need designer jeans, just a bucket of beans. What? A bucket of beans? Oh. Only thing better than a bucket of beans is a pool of beans. I need my goggles, but I lost my goggles. Sitting on a raft like a super hot model. I'm taking my photo, cause you only live YOLO. Talking about the pool though, how'd you get it full, yo? I got a bucket, I got a bucket. Another bucket, another bucket. I got a bucket, I got a bucket. So many buckets of beans. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't need a private jet, don't need designer jeans. Cause when the day is done and I'm having fun, it's just me and my dreams and a bucket of beans. A bucket of beans. And a bucket of beans.